Hi everybody, it's Amy Caroline. Welcome back to a brand new video Welcome back to my channel. So I had to start over again. Because my iPhone storage was full. It was full and I had to do something with my phone. I have to read the story again. And then put the video on YouTube again and stuff like that. So, sorry about that. I am going to, I am going to read a story called The Hookerman. And it takes place in Long Valley, New Jersey, and it takes place in Long Valley, New Jersey, and I am going to read it for you guys. I'm going to read it for you guys and stuff like that. And you will see of how it should look like on the Travel Channel. And those of you who work for the Travel Channel Company, if you live in Nashville, Tennessee, if you live in Memphis, Tennessee, if you live in Hendersonville, Tennessee, if you live in Arkansas, if you live in Denver, Colorado, if you live in California, if you live in London, in the country of London, and if you live in Denver, Colorado, if you live in New Jersey, and if you live in New York City, if you live in North Carolina, if you live in any of those places, and you work for the Travel Channel, and if you live in any of those places and you work for the Travel Channel, then please put this story and this episode on here. The Hookerman. And after that, I'm going to show you guys an example from the previous TV show, Haunted Hotels. And it will give you an idea of what Ghost Train should look like on the Travel Channel. And the story going back in time, the people going back in time, and the story going back in time. You'll hear the narrator speaking, you'll hear people speaking and telling the story and stuff like that. And you'll see the apparitions and the spirits appearing and the ghost appearing on the screen. And so that is what Ghost Train has to do. That is what Ghost Train has to do on the Travel Channel. Okay, that is what Ghost Train has to do when you guys put it on the Travel Channel, Travel Channel. Okay, all right. So. I am going to read the story to you guys, and it will give you an idea of what Ghost Train of what Ghost Train should look like on the Travel Channel when it gets filmed by you guys, when it gets filmed and put on the Travel Channel by you guys, okay? Okay? All right? So, without further ado, the Hookerman story, the Hookerman. Long Valley, New Jersey, located on an abandoned Central Railroad of New Jersey railroad grade, is the scene of another phantom light said to be the ghost of a dead railroader. The light appears on a level stretch, right of way located between Naught Road and Seven Bridges Road, a very isolated rural spot. The story goes back in time to the immediate post-Civil War era, when the Central Railroad of New Jersey line through Long Valley was new. It was a pioneer era of railroading. When operations went without air brakes, and with the old-fashioned link and Piern Copular, according to local folklore legend, a brakeman switching cars on the fly was crushed between two boxcars. The unfortunate brakery lost his arm, lingered on for several weeks, and finally died. After the accident and after the tragedy, a mysterious light appeared along the Central Railroad New Jersey right-of-way at frequent intervals. The light started appearing before there were electric lights or car headlights, so they can explain the phenomenon. A scientific investigation of the light theorized it was caused by an unexplained interaction between the Central Railroad New Jersey rails and a bed of quartz underlying the track. Nothing was proved. Nothing was proved, however, and no one could ever come up with a defined explanation for the phantom light. Locals have more colorful explanation of the phantom. They say it is caused by a ghost, that some folks have seen the ghost of the crushed brakeman, the brakie, known locally as the Hookerman, appears as one-armed man, as a one-armed man holding a railroad lantern, walking down the tracks at the scene of the long ago accident. Folks say that the light people see is the gleam of his lantern as the Hookerman looks for his long lost arm. A slightly different version of the tale explains the name Hookerman. This version claims that the brakeman got drunk or fell asleep, pitched off his train, and got his hand cut off by a railroad car. His hand was replaced by a hook. Later, after the ex-brakie passed away, his ghost started revisiting the area looking for his hand and his arm. As the phantom searches in the dark, he holds a lantern in his hook. The tracks through Long Valley were removed about 10 years ago, and like the Mako light and the Mint's ghost light, the Hookerman's light apparently vanished with the rails. So anyway, so apparently the Hookerman's arm is still the Hookerman's ghost, the Hookerman's ghost is still there, but he the Hookerman's ghost still wanders the tracks and haunts the tracks. The Hookerman's ghost still wanders the tracks and haunts the tracks through Long Valley, New Jersey, and his ghost comes back. His ghost comes back through on the train tracks, on the railroad tracks through Long Valley, New Jersey, a lot of people visiting the area were looking for it, and some of them got scared away, and they saw the apparition of the man and his light, and they were scared away, and also and it's still haunted too, okay? It's still there, okay? So anyway, when you guys filmed the documentary of Ghost Train, be sure the story goes back in time to the Civil War days, cause it took place in the Civil War days. Be sure the story goes back in time to the Civil War days, and let the apparition and the spirit and the ghost appear on the screen, on the TV screen, and let the people go back in time, and also let the story, let the people go back in time, and let the narrator tell the story too. Let the narrator tell the story too also. Okay? All right. So the story about it is he got his arm and hand chopped off by switching cars, and was his hand was cut off, his arm and his hand was cut off, and between two box cars, and he got his hand chopped off and cut off, and his arm too, and stuff like that. So 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 be sure you put that in the documentary. Be sure you put that in the documentary also. And let the story and the narrator tell the story, and let the story go back in time. Let the people go back in time. And also be sure you put the apparitions of the spirits and the ghost on the screen, and let his ghost walk around the railroad tracks, and let his ghost walk around and wander around the railroad tracks, and 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 um um and and um um and so forth and so on. Okay, all right. um anyway, I hope you enjoyed this story. Now I'm going to show you guys an example from the previous TV show, Haunted Hotels. You'll hear the narrator tell the story about the haunted hotels, and you'll see the story going back in time. You'll see the ghost and the apparitions appear on the screen, and it will show you and give you an idea and an example of how Ghost Train ought to look like and should look like on the Travel Channel. Okay, when it gets put on there by you guys. Okay, all right. So without further ado, here's Haunted Hotels. Please enjoy it.
Telling ghost stories can be fun around a campfire. But when the ghosts are the ones talking, it's positively terrifying. From adultery to murder, these hotels hold dark secrets, stories that would have been lost forever, locked within these walls. But history comes alive again as the ghosts of the past return to tell their tales. In this luxury London hotel, guests say a ghostly murderer returns to the site of his evil deed.
He was terrified I wouldn't go back into that room.
In Massachusetts, two sisters loved the same man. Now it seems they're back from the dead to continue their feud.
I never fail to feel that very uncomfortable feeling, like someone is saying, go away, we want to be alone.
And in the South, the vision of a female spectre shatters the calm of this French Quarter courtyard.
I'll never stay in Cottage 4. Never.
This is a world where stories, once silenced by death, come back to life. Where spirits speak. Each day, the streets of London are filled with tourists. From historical sites to nightlife, this city has it all, including plenty of rain.
Well, it's nice to see that the English summer has once more returned to us and it's pouring with rain yet again. But that might account for why London is the most haunted capital city in the world.
The misty sky and rolling fog create the perfect setting for a haunted tale and a jolly old London ghost tour.
for many is the late-night wanderer who's walking around this quarter of the old city when they found themselves confronted by the strange sight of a
Ghost tours trek through the city, stopping everywhere from the famous Tower of London to a quaint local pub. It seems there isn't a sight in this city without a ghostly tale.
The Romans left in AD 410, and since then we've had nigh on 2,000 years of demolition and rebuilding. And if you think about it, there's not one square inch of the city where when you walk across it, you're not walking on the tangible memories, the remains of millions of people who've lived on that site, walked across that site.
Many believe that rich and varied past carries an added bonus.
Ghosts only appear in places with only the great happiness or great sadness. And if you think about it, London has it all.
Aside from a rich history, modern London has much to offer. Theatre, nightlife, and world-class shopping. And in the heart of the shopping district, the Langham Hilton.
We are literally about 3 blocks, about 3 minutes walk from Oxford Circus. Over there you have Oxford Street, you have Regent Street and Bond Street, Selfridges and all of the famous shopping areas of London. In its time, this was considered the utmost of luxury.
The Langham opened its doors in 1865, and for the past 140 years, tradition has been a mainstay here. But some say that afternoon tea and staff in traditional dress aren't the only things that are left over from times gone by. Locals believe the hotel is haunted, and ghosts from years past lurk amid the confines of the private rooms.
We received a letter from some clients that stayed here about a year ago. It was a mother and daughter, and they were in for 3 nights, and on the 3rd night both felt a presence, and the beds were shaking.
The shaking roused the women, and out of the darkness, an evil set of eyes was staring at them.
Obviously frightened both of them to the point where they didn't even talk about it until they were on the journey back home.
Several other guests have reported similar experiences, and while the hauntings are not always alike, they often happen in the same room.
We're actually standing outside the most famous room in the hotel at the moment. This is room 333, which is allegedly one of our very haunted rooms.
But who is this spirit who haunts room 333? Staff here say it's the soul of a killer, and in the late 1800s, room 333 was the site of his evil crime. A bed that shakes violently, sinister eyes that peer out of the darkness, and an evil presence that fills the room. According to eyewitness accounts, London's Langham Hilton Hotel is haunted, and the staff here believe they know the identity of the spirit that visits guests here during the night.
There is the story of this doctor who stayed here on a honeymoon with his wife.
When the newlyweds checked into the hotel, they seemed happy and very much in love.
They had a private dinner, and it was very romantic. And obviously retired to their suite at the front of the hotel.
But behind the happy facade lay a terrible secret. Just before their nuptials, the doctor learned his wife was having an affair. But he did not confront her with the betrayal. He had another plan. His anger drove him to murder, and just one drop of poison did the trick. The young bride had no idea she was toasting their union with more than just champagne. As she lay dead in their honeymoon suite, the doctor began to realize the gravity of his deed. Did he regret what he had done? Or was he simply fearful of getting caught? No one knows for sure. But hours after he killed his wife, the doctor took his own life.
He killed her. And then he committed suicide as well.
Over a century has passed since that fateful night, and staff say the spirit of the doctor still lingers within the hotel walls. Are his ghostly tricks meant to drive out intruders? If so, it's already worked with at least one staff member. His encounter with the doctor's ghost was enough to convince him to stay far away from the guest rooms.
He was working late one night. He noticed a dark cloak disappearing around the corner of the corridor. It didn't think too much of it at the time, but went around the corner expecting it to be a member of housekeeping doing their duties. And when he went around the corner, there was no one there at all. He's still a little shaken by it, but that's probably why he works down on concierge now, with the guests as a way to... He's away from the bedrooms now.
But not everyone can simply retreat to the lighted safety of the front lobby. And so, the unsuspecting guests staying in room 333 continue to recount their terrifying experiences.
In the early hours, he was woken, and on the opposite side of the room, he could see it like a fluorescent ball of light hovering in midair. And it was drifting very slowly towards him, and as it did so, it took on the form of a man in full evening dress, and he watched the man come towards him, and then he called out, "Who are you? What do you want?" And this seemed to annoy the spirit because it came at him a lot faster. And he panicked and leapt out of bed, and whereupon the spirit disappeared. But he then was terrified and wouldn't go back into that room.
Is it the doctor? Or is another spirit lurking in the dark? One member of the staff brave enough to spend the night in room 333 awoke to a loud bang. Before her eyes appeared a spirit, but this time it was a woman.
I kind of feel special that maybe there is a message there somewhere, you know.
Perhaps the doctor's wife still lingers at the site of her cruel death, determined to protect female guests from a fate like her own.
I can only draw from myself and say maybe she's sort of warning us.
Whatever their intent, staff say the ghosts of the Langham remain, forever tied to the site of their tragic demise.
It would be odd, I suppose, if we were to be asked and we had no history of any ghosts. I think it is quite accepted that a building of this kind, of that age, has had ghosts.
The small town of Lenox, Massachusetts, is a favorite destination for those looking for a quiet country holiday.
Okay, I'm gonna stop there. So did you see of how the story went back in time, and did you see of how the narrator was telling the story and the people, and the old-fashioned people, the fashion people went back in time, and Okay, did you see of how the old-fashioned people went back in time, and the apparitions and the spirits and the ghosts appearing on the screens? Well, that's what the Hookerman has to do. That's what I'm talking about. 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 Okay, the Hookerman has to do that. The Hookerman, that's what the Hookerman has to do. Okay, when you guys film the documentary of Ghost Train, when you guys film the documentary, whenever you do, that's what the Hookerman story and episode has to do, okay? The story like you saw on Haunted Hotels, that's what has to happen in the TV show Ghost Train, okay? All right? The show has to be called Ghost Train, okay? And also be sure that you watch my other Ghost Train videos that I did 3 weeks ago and 2 weeks ago and the other day and the day before that and the day before that one too. Be sure you watch that one. Be sure you watch those. And whenever you guys film the documentary and the TV show Ghost Train on the Travel Channel, be sure that you put the episode and the story of the Hookerman, okay? And let it go back in time, and let the people and the story go back in time, and let the put a narrator in there to tell the story, and let it show its let it show its ghost and its apparition on the screen when you're doing it too, okay? All right? Kind of like what you saw on Haunted Hotels, okay? All right? Same thing, okay? All right? So, I hope you guys enjoyed this story and enjoyed this video. Please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you would like to, and ring the bell. And I will see you guys later for more Ghost Train stories and more haunted stuff and more spooky stuff, okay? Okay, bye everybody. Bye.